views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most inspired visionaries on the planet in lighthearted, lively dialogue. Join us as we explore the expansive nature of reality in a down-to-earth way, offering you insights and tools, empowering you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Now, here's your host, Christine Upchurch.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Christine Upchurch Show, where we have stellar conversations to illuminate your journey. I'm speaking to you today from Hubbard Radio here at KKNW AM 1150 in Seattle. You may be listening on WBOQ AM 1230 in Rhode Island, Connecticut, or New York. Somewhere across the nation on cable radio network or anywhere around the world on Transformation Talk Radio. But wherever you're joining us from today, you're going to be so pleased we have an amazing guest. But before I get to that, I want to say hello to Benny's fill-in.
Yep.
Taylor, how are you today?
I'm doing good, yeah. Trying to fill Benny's shoes, both literally and figuratively. Here.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job because you've got a new system. And so far, we've kept on the air.
So far, so good, yeah. Haven't gone off air, so it looks like all systems go so far for this new system.
That's wonderful. You know, I'm really, really excited about our guest today because she is somebody who needs no introduction, so I feel very honored to be able to provide an introduction for her. She's a woman with amazing intellect, great heart, and a passionate vision, which is a powerful triad of characteristics on behalf of the evolution of our planet. The person I'm talking about is Barbara Marx Hubbard. She is a futurist, a prolific educator. She's the author of, I think 7 books now, including a revised edition of her seminal work, Conscious Evolution. And she has contributed to numerous documentaries reaching millions worldwide. She is an evolutionary thinker who believes that global change happens when we work collectively and selflessly for the greater good. Here's what Neil Donald Walsh says about her. One of the truly great visionaries of our time. And Deepak Chopra says, the voice for conscious evolution. I'd like to welcome Barbara Marx Hubbard. Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm so pleased to have you here today. And, you know, I'm fascinated by your long-term perspective on what's been underway. And before we get to what's going on right now, I just want to share with our listeners what inspired you to begin to look at things in a different way when you were young?
That is such a good question. And I think it was the fact that I had a very happy childhood. I thought everything in the world was good. Mm-hmm. I thought power was good, money was good, America was good. And then we dropped the bomb on Japan. Right. And I was 15 years old, the 2 Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And after the horror of it, this question arose in my mind that really has been my life question. And here's the question. What is the meaning of all this new power that's good? What is the meaning of science, technology, industry? See, America was at the very, very top of that power. Mm-hmm. And I had been told the power was good. And I had this intuition that if we had more and more of that power and used it to destroy and create a competition, that we would destroy everything. I got that very early. Right. And then I also believed that there must be some good meaning for all this power. Right. So I asked, what is the meaning of the power? And I started on my search. I joined the church when I read about Jesus. I was Jewish agnostic, so I had no religion. And I was so fascinated by Jesus and the whole idea of love ye one another and you shall all be changed. And I went to the local church in Scarsdale, New York, the Episcopal Church, and I said, is any of this true?
Right.
See, that could be the meaning of our power. But obviously, he didn't know if any of it was true.
Right.
And then I went to Bryn Mawr College. You couldn't take any course whatsoever on the meaning of our power or the direction of human civilization or vocation in terms of civilization. And then I met President Eisenhower, and I went into the Oval Office to a friend. He was a friend of my father's, and I said, Mr. President, what do you think is the meaning of the new power of military-industrial complex that's good? He said, I have no idea.
Wow.
So that I got what you might call a vocation of destiny. A vocation of destiny is something that once it gets hold of you, you can't let it go, or it won't let you go.
Right.
So it would not let me go, and I began a lifelong search. And the amazing, stunning reality is it's still true that nobody in our culture, no cultural icon or entity or organization is able to tell humanity the meaning of our new power that's good. We have transhumanists that say we're going to create a new species. That's one thought. There are those who say it's too late and we've already overgrown and the environment will collapse. That's another group. Then there's another group that says, I think we could make everything nice for everyone, just like if we stop fighting. There's that group. So there are tons of groups. But the group that I have been forming is a bigger group. It has a context that puts us in the context of the whole story of creation, from the origin of the universe for the 14 billion years of evolutionary transformation when we're in it. And conscious evolution means we are evolution becoming conscious of ourselves. We are affecting evolution because we, in a way, are evolution. Now, all species before us have been part of evolution, but they didn't know it, and they didn't know that they could destroy themselves by their own behavior. We do. So our crises that we are facing as a species are, in fact, the evolutionary driver. So I'm sorry, that's a long answer to how I got started. But I got started with the question. I had a lifelong search. I began to see that the meaning of our power is to actually give birth to a co-evolving, co-creative species, a new species, or an evolving species of Homo sapiens sapiens. This species is right now multiplying everywhere with no name, no identity. So my real purpose in life is to help connect and discover what's working among the emerging species of humanity.
Wonderful. Now, do you believe if we have a question that there is an answer out there?
If there's a question, is there an answer?
Yes.
Well, I'm one who's always asking. You see, here's the way I do it. I believe very much in asking questions. And I ask the universe. Universe? And I mean God, source, spirit. But just to simplify it, I call it universe. What's the meaning of our power? Universe. What's our story? Universe. What kind of person can handle all this power? Then I listen. I turn off mental mind. I don't go into a channeling mode. I go into a higher mind listening. And I have found that if anyone really asks, Jesus' famous statement, ask and it shall be given, knock and door shall open. If you ask deeply enough and keep on asking and keep your attention poised on what you really are needing to know, something will come through. And so I wouldn't want to use the word answer, but response is better. And then the way you handle the response.
We seem to be having a little technical difficulty here. We're going to go to a break a little bit early, but stay tuned for more with Barbara Marx Hubbard on the Christine Upchurch Show.
Good. I'm feeling good.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Tired of traditional talk? People pontificating about this or that, the left or the right. Sometimes the truth is just all lost in the noise. Tune in each week to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, as nationally known guests talk about what's important to you, your life, your concerns, and your success. Tune in and turn on to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher. Visit ChuckGallagher.com for more information.
I'm Christine Upchurch, and this is a Stellar Reflections Minute. What does the word healing mean? Many think that healing merely means eliminating symptoms. However, based on my many years as a healer, I have a much broader perspective on the word. Healing can manifest in a variety of ways, including having physical problems resolved, becoming more emotionally centered, experiencing better relationships, gaining greater clarity, and feeling more spiritually connected. True healing always includes some level of transformation. Whatever form healing takes, there is one commonality, an improvement in quality of life. To me, the highest form of healing goes beyond aligning with wellness. It comes from recognizing our soul's voice and allowing it to speak through us. And in that sense, don't we all yearn to heal into our wholeness? Please visit StellarReflections.com or call 425-999-9836. That's 425-999-9836.
What does a Dentist of the Year get? A little plaque. Welcome to Smile Big, where we offer cosmetic, restorative, and preventative dentistry. Dr. James Rosenwald and Dr. Susan Abdenur work hard every day for their clients to be happy to smile with the latest equipment for complete smile restoration for anyone. The sooner you call, the sooner they can help. Call 425-454-4040 or email scheduling@smilebig.com. You can even visit our website at smilebig.com.
Good. I'm feeling good.
Welcome back to the Christine Upchurch Show here on KKNW and Transformation Talk Radio. We are having a conversation today with Barbara Marx Hubbard. You know, she is an amazing futurist who is a mover shaker of our world, and she is the author of several books, including the revised edition of Conscious Evolution, Awakening the Power of Our Social Potential. Now, Barbara, when we talk about, social change, historically, we have seen social revolution. You specifically use the word evolution instead of revolution. Why is that?
Oh, well, revolution by, revolution. You're going back. So we've had, usually a revolution is like the French Revolution. You get rid of one leadership group and another leadership group comes in and is in a dominant position. So the structure doesn't change. You destroy one form of leadership and another form of leadership comes in, and you get the top-down structure in revolution. Like in the Russian Revolution, that's what happened. They knock one out and the other one comes in, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. Now, in liberal democracy, we have a slightly better system, but we can see that system itself is having a problem because it's so oppositionally designed and capable of being taken over by corporate self-interest that is almost immobilized American democracy. The Arab Spring didn't do very well. We all hoped that it would, and then it didn't. So when I'm speaking of evolution rather than revolution, even revolution toward democracy, I believe that the evolutionary pattern that's needed now is greater and greater synergy and cooperation among separate parts. So that would mean a new, instead of Robert's Rules of Order, which is for the parliamentary procedure, and win-lose voting, we would have synergistic rules of order seeking common goals and matching needs with resources.
Mm-hmm. So, we're in a bit of a mess here in the world right now. And, if we are going through an evolution of sorts, it's got some ugly parts of it. What's your perspective on the crisis situation right now?
It's terrible. But you know what? So is birth.
You're so right.
I'm a mother of 5.
Oh.
I'm a mother of 5 children and 8 grandchildren. And I have often thought, as I was getting ready to deliver a baby and going through that process, that if I didn't know I was giving birth to something good, I'd think I was dying.
Right. Yes.
And when I saw the result of the birth pain, the little newborn, and you didn't know that it could grow up, you would feel even worse.
Right.
So what my analogy here is that our crisis on planet Earth is a birth of a new culture, a new civilization, and eventually a new species.
Right.
And that the crisis is extremely dangerous, particularly in the environmental field of the collapse of our life support system. And that in evolution you learn that crises precede transformation. Problems are evolutionary drivers. Stress causes evolution. It's the only thing that does, says Elizabeth Sahtouris. So we have been given, as a human species, a global crisis for which there is no solution in our existing structures. That is to say, our government structures can't cooperate on a global scale. The corporate structures are not designed to do this, designed to do the opposite, which is to maximize profit. Certainly the religions of the world are not going to do it, or the universities. So the evolutionary impulse is residing in the people and in the new media and the Internet. And I believe that the connectivity within that global brain, as Peter Russell called it, within the collective intelligence with one more degree of shared purpose for cooperation and identifying what's working, we would find there's an emerging world already in our midst, already here.
I've found it fascinating, Barbara, because I've heard some people say, Facebook is just so negative, and I'm thinking, that's not my perspective at all. My connections on Facebook are really inspiring. So, we can use that connectivity to co-create in a positive way, or we can use that connectivity to condemn, to judge, to stress, and to, keep things as they are. How do we somehow shift that power, so to speak, from the destructive to the co-creative?
I think it starts out by connecting the people who have already shifted.
Oh, yes.
You see, just take you and me.
Right.
Are you power-hungry dominator?
No.
Trying to get the better of everybody and being willing to kill anything to get there?
No.
Tell me.
No.
Why not?
Because I've got a higher mission here, yes.
Well, how did you get the higher mission?
I started dealing with my own crap.
And who gave you permission to deal with your own crap and be like you are?
My soul did. Said, hurry up, hurry up.
Okay. All right. There you got it. Our souls, and this would be a big collective, our souls.
Right.
Anybody, anywhere on earth who has a soul-level impulse for greater love, greater caring, greater creativity, greater innovation, are the ones who can lead the world. They're not yet anywhere in top-down power structures.
Right.
But we're everywhere. And my own purpose in life is to help communicate and connect the pioneering souls. I'm calling it a global communion of pioneering souls.
Ooh,
everywhere on earth. Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful, yes.
I want to make this global communion. It's exactly like you are and all your listeners, by the millions. It's not like we're in a tiny minority. We're not alternative. We're actually the new mainstream. The mainstream of evolution, if you look at the 14 billion years, where is it going? It's going to higher complexity, higher order, higher consciousness. That is a multi-billion year trend. Now, it's very interesting to me how some people looking at that say, oh, it's all meandering, it's a random walk, it's not going anywhere. Well, they must be blind. Yep. If we started with no thing at all and quarks, and we got to you and me having this conversation, and somebody said, I don't think it was going anywhere, I just say, well, you certainly are not opening your evolutionary eyes.
Right.
So one of my teachings in the book, Conscious Evolution, is open your evolutionary eyes.
Yes.
Take the perspective of the whole system that you've now been told many times, for all these TV shows, Cosmos, we know the universe is evolving, and so are we.
Right.
So we have no excuse anymore.
That's right. And that awareness is key to participation.
Yes, and so that's why I think the work of this world view of conscious evolution and the universal story of evolution, seen not only from the outside, as a continuing acceleration of complexity and consciousness, but seeing it, feeling it from the inside of yourself.
Right.
So what's inside you and me now? When I quizzed you as to why you're doing what you're doing and who told you and how powerful are you going to be, you said, well, it was my soul.
Right.
So I would say the same thing. It was my soul. My soul woke up at the time of the atomic bombs. And each person's soul has a unique soul's calling.
Right.
And if you can discover the deeper calling of your soul and say yes, like I said yes, I'm going to try to find out the meaning of our power.
Yes.
That was a big yes. It took my entire life. And so you're very fortunate if you have a yes inside yourself towards some impulse that's deeper than just a whim or a superficial desire.
Right.
That's very, very blessing to have it.
And, Barbara, from my perspective, from, what I've heard from colleagues and clients and seminar attendees, people right now are feeling dissatisfied. Oftentimes they're feeling stuck. And, I kind of wonder if it's sort of their own inner nature kind of forcing them to have their wake-up call to say yes to their own participation.
I think that's absolutely true. And one of the things that I learned early in my life was the meaning of depression is often that something more wants to be expressed.
Ooh, I like that.
So depression, if you feel it, then you ask the question, what more wants to be expressed in me now? And you take the attitude that what wants to be expressed is good.
Yes. Oh, that's huge. Because so many of us within this culture have learned that somehow it's selfish if we go after what we truly want. We need to be worrying about what others think, what others want, and not to fully express ourselves.
Exactly. So the big yes is, let's say somebody's listening who might be depressed or might not sure what their life purpose is or feel a little stuck, which is like 90% of the population.
Right. Unfortunately, that's true.
So, okay, the first thing you say is our crisis is the birth of something new in this world and something new in me.
Right.
My own personal dissatisfaction, depression, concerns, that I feel inadequate, I have a self-critic that's telling me I'm not doing well enough or whatever it is, just stop and say, thank you. Let's see what attracts you to become. Let's ask the question, what attracts you to become, to offer, to create? And if you just even ask yourself that simple question, and even if it seems insignificant, like I like to take walks, or I like to ride a horse, or I love children, or never mind, keep going. Find follow the lead of attraction.
Uh-huh.
This is evolution by attraction.
I like that, yes.
So I followed the lead of attraction when I was depressed.
Uh-huh.
I read Abraham Maslow's book, Toward a Psychology of Being, in which he very clearly said that all self-actualizing people have one thing in common: chosen work they find intrinsically self-rewarding and of service to others.
Right, right.
So you have to then find your chosen work.
Uh-huh. And, you know, there are a lot of people out there that think that, you know, work is just a means to an end, but I can't imagine working in a realm where I didn't feel passionate about what it was I was doing on a day-to-day basis. But so much of the population is.
Well, most of the population does not love their work. Mm-hmm. And what's happening now, I think, particularly in the millennial generation, is they're also aware that even if they manage to get into a good college, they go into debt, and then it's not easy to get a job.
Right.
So what's happening, I believe, is a rise of small-scale entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I really believe I've coined this phrase, the freeing enterprise system.
Ooh.
And I'm not speaking now of large corporate structures. But let's say I'm actually an entrepreneur in the sense that I've been teaching on Shift Network.
Right.
The Shift Network is a business, and it has to run itself like a corporation. I am one of their teachers. Then I'm an author. So I'm with publishing companies, like for Conscious Evolution, I'm with New World Library. They are businesses. Right. And then I'm publishing another amazing book, which is called Evolutionary Testament of Co-Creation. Ooh. And this is about an evolutionary interpretation of the life of Jesus.
Fascinating.
And it is absolutely fascinating. And so it's being published by a small business. And then I'm going to do evolutionary Bible study groups. And they're going to be little tiny entrepreneurs.
Oh, wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And we are fortunate in this culture to be able to do that and not get killed for it as you might in some other countries.
Right, right.
Or some other faith.
Yeah.
But we have a faith, and in that sense, this is very American, what I'm saying. It's a faith in the innovative creativity of each person.
Right.
And I have a new Thomas Jefferson statement, if you'd like to hear it.
Sure, and then we need to go to break. Go ahead.
Okay. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All people are born creative, endowed by our Creator with the inalienable right and responsibility to express our creativity for the good of the self and the whole.
Wonderful. And so we'll talk more about the rights and responsibilities and how to be a participant in the conscious evolution on our planet. More with Barbara Marx Hubbard when we return here on the Christine Upchurch Show.
I feel blossom on a tree. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn.
Hey, Justin, did you hear Asher Fox on the Dr. Pat Show?
No, I didn't.
He was great. He told us about a special offer that he put together just for Dr. Pat Show listeners.
Oh, that's cool.
All you have to do is go to StopCravingstoolkit.com to receive your free Stop Cravings Toolkit.
Oh, I'm going to go there right now.
I think you totally should. Go to StopCravingstoolkit.com to receive your free Stop Cravings Toolkit from Asher Fox. It's the only way to get your 3 powerful tools to instantly stop cravings and take control of your life today.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
I'm Christine Upchurch, and this is a Stellar Reflections Minute. As a former research statistician, my scientific background is what many would call sensible. For more than a decade now, I have been working in the field of energy medicine, facilitating sessions and teaching around the world. People from the mainstream often ask me, how did a sensible woman like you end up working in such an alternative field? Implicit in their question is the underlying assumption that the field of subtle energy, such as energy healing and intuition, isn't sensible. But I believe it is very sensible. Even scientists are able to measure aspects of this. Approaching life from an energetic perspective brings us new opportunity for healing and transformation. And from a practical standpoint, even if you can't rationally explain how something works, if you experience a shift from it, then doesn't it make it pretty sensible? Please visit stellarreflections.com or call 425-999-9836. That's 425-999-9836.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
For me, and I'm feeling good.
Welcome back to the Christine Upchurch Show here on KKNW, CRN, and Transformation Talk Radio. I'm having a conversation today with the legendary futurist Barbara Marx Hubbard. Now, Barbara, before we went to break, you were sort of redefining or reshaping a quote and turning it into how each of us has a right and a responsibility to co-create.
Yes.
First of all, we talked a little bit about the rights. Where does the responsibility lie?
Well, here's what I would say, and starting on a spiritual note, is you might say the creative force of the universe, the creator, God, created this entire universe, including you and your creativity.
Right.
So you didn't make any of yourself up. You didn't. So your creativity, my creativity, is the creator within. And when everybody, from the simplest person who might be digging ditches to the greatest technological genius, we have seen examples of people's creativity from the simple all the way to the great complexities. Because somebody can be absolutely great in caring for a house and caring for children, in gardening, as well as in becoming an evolutionary futurist like me. So the main thing is that you feel your creativity is being expressed when you're doing it. And one of the problems with 90% of the jobs that people have is they don't feel their creativity is being expressed.
Right.
See, and that's really a problem.
Well, it seems to me that the way our educational system is going, we are focusing on knowledge and squelching the creative support of our kids. What's your perspective on education?
Well, education, like all other big systems, is outmoded, to put it mildly. And education is one of the most difficult ones to change. I was just on a call yesterday with Bill Spady, who's a wonderful educator, written several books, Spady, in case anyone's interested. And he was telling me that he finally gave up trying to change the existing system and creating books and alternative opportunities for children, because it's like trying to change the Catholic Church.
Right.
You know, somebody who wants to become a priest in the Catholic Church, a woman, how much energy would you have to spend to try to become a priest in the Catholic Church if you're a woman? Too much.
Right.
And not that I don't admire the people who are willing to do that, but you could become a priestess without the Catholic Church. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
And you have to self-authorize.
Yes.
Like I am self-authorizing. Who gave me the right to say, here's a vision of humanity becoming a co-evolving, co-creative species? Nobody. Do you think I've gotten authority from the church for this?
No.
Or from the academic world?
No.
Or from the corporate world?
Definitely not.
Authorize me? No. So how come I got this authority? Well, it's internal.
Yes.
And it also is respectful of other people's opinions, and you start to build a community. And that's why I'm so interested in developing the communion of pioneering souls.
Right. And without that connection, then there's less powerful forward movement, right?
Yes, that's right. So you want to reach out and build your community by finding others who are in resonance with you. And the word resonance is very important here.
Yes.
It means sounding back to one another the highest frequencies of your being. So you're not just with people who don't understand what it is you're saying. You're with people who love what you're saying.
Right.
And I have found people who love this.
Yes.
So, obviously I'm very reinforced.
Right.
Because I'm teaching people who choose to be with me. Yes. And I'm doing a whole new mentoring program that's starting out on evolutionary mentoring leadership. And so that people are going to spend a whole year with me. If any of your listeners are interested, they can email me at bmh@evolve.org.
bmh@evolve.org.
I am interested in mentoring evolutionary leaders to self-authorize to become what we need in the world to take us forward the next step.
Right. So what you're talking about is creating or accepting our inwardly born, inward right, our natural right to do this. But you also mentioned responsibility. Where does responsibility come in?
I think that this is my own ethic, that everybody's unique creative expression is needed in the world, and that you were given it by the creative source of the universe, and you have a responsibility to that source, to God, to life, to spirit, to give that best that you have out in such a way that you find self-rewarding work. So that doesn't mean you have to become a sacrificial lamb and give everything away. It means you have to find self-rewarding expression, like you did in doing this radio show.
Right.
Like I did in becoming an evolutionary communicator. This is self-rewarding to me. I would pay to do it. That's the thing that you find with people like us. I once took a whole big group to the former Soviet Union on a citizen diplomacy mission with Rama Vernon, and everybody paid their own way. They cashed in their retirement funds, everything. And I'll never forget the day we were talking to a communist leader. This is still during the Cold War, and the communist leader was a newscaster, and he said, "And who paid you all to do this?" And we said, "Oh, nobody. We paid to do it." He said, "You paid to come over here to help us? Why?" And so we said, "Well, it's really what we want to be helpful. We want to do it. We want to get over the fear." And then he had this tremendous pause, and he said, "That's what we thought the communist man would be."
Oh, wow.
They thought that when you got rid of private property, that you would get rid of this type of competitive ambition. And I said, "Tell me, what kind of person do you think this communist man, what's your image of it?" "Well," he said, "I think it's like Jesus." So, I mean, there it was. It's just an amazing set of epiphanies.
But communism was a top-down kind of structure, and what you're talking about is very different. Yes, indeed.
You see, it was a terrible revolution, terrible, and in China as well. And that was a terrible revolution. Now, the democracy was a good revolution in that it gave more power to the people by far.
Uh-huh.
However, now I'm saying there's another evolution pending, not a revolution, an evolution of the emerging capacities of humanity connected.
Right.
And that's not a revolution.
Right. Right.
That's really a design evolution.
So, what you're talking about is something that's grassroots and co-creative, collaborative. You talk about the wheel of co-creation. What is that?
Well, if you can visualize a spiral of evolution of universe, earth, life, animal life, human life, now put one more turn on the spiral of that and make it into a wheel with spokes.
Mm-hmm.
And every spoke is a function like health, education, economics, science and technology, arts, media. And the wheel of co-creation is an invitation for people to put their projects, their innovations, their desire to create into the sector of the wheel where they fit best and find others to co-create with. So it's a system of evolutionary democracy.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We're going to need to go to another quick break, but more with Barbara Marx Hubbard when we return here on the Christine Upchurch Show.
Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world.
I'm Peggy Snow with another Stellar Reflections Minute. Presence, or what we think of as being fully in the moment, is a key element in the process of healing work. As a practitioner facilitating a session, genuine presence takes us out of our heads, where we tend to decide what is and maybe what should be for the client, and moves us into direct experience, where we're available to witness the person in their wholeness. In this receptive realm, our senses are heightened and expanded, allowing us to perceive what's seeking to unfold and to interact in the moment. There's something profoundly powerful that happens when healing is approached in this simple, pure way. Balance can be restored and healing can take place on multiple levels. If you'd like more information about the services we offer at Stellar Reflections, visit us at stellarreflections.com or call 425-999-9836. That's 425-999-9836.
Hey, Justin, did you hear Asher Fox on the Dr. Pat Show?
No, I didn't.
He was great. He told us about a special offer that he put together just for Dr. Pat Show listeners.
Oh, that's cool.
All you have to do is go to stopcravingstoolkit.com to receive your free Stop Cravings Toolkit.
Oh, I'm going to go there right now.
I think you totally should. Go to stopcravingstoolkit.com to receive your free Stop Cravings Toolkit from Asher Fox. It's the only way to get your 3 powerful tools to instantly stop cravings and take control of your life today.
Do you feel stuck with fear and anxiety? Have you tried everything to get rid of these emotions, but nothing seemed to work? Hi, I'm Dr. Friedman Schaub. My Breakthrough and Empowerment program has helped thousands of people to overcome fear and anxiety and build a new foundation of confidence and inner peace. Join me for my next Breakthrough video seminar and learn how you can transform your life in less than 3 months. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com.
You got attitude? Keys to the rescue. Adjust your attitude with Keys Clear Protein Waters. So refreshing. Just a few sips of Keys will give you a whole new outlook, thanks to 22 grams of the happiest protein on earth. Tongue-tingling tasty without the guilt of naughty or nasty ingredients. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, maybe you need to drink too. Put a little in your attitude with Keys Protein Water. On Amazon or at Keys, Kees, please.com.
Doctor loves quickies.
Mary's about ready to give love the shove, 'cause no matter what she tries, guys don't know that she's alive. To turn guys on, she needs to turn on those green lights, nonverbal cues that say, over here. Most guys won't approach unless they're cleared for landing. So ladies, to kickstart your love life, turn on those green lights and flash your pearly whites. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf of AskDrLove.com.
Welcome back to the Christine Upchurch Show here on KKNW Cable Radio Network and Transformation Talk Radio. I'm having a wonderful conversation today with the legendary Barbara Marx Hubbard, who is one of the biggest movers and shakers on the planet today. Now, Barbara, you mentioned a little bit about the global communion, is the way you put it. Can you share with our listeners a little bit more about what it is you mean and what your vision is for our future within that communion?
Thank you. I am intuiting that there are countless people like you and me on this planet who are awakened from within by some spiritual impulse to give more, love more, create more. Mm-hmm. And that we are an emerging human. And we're not a church, yet it's a sacred motivation.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to invite people, starting with you right here. Eventually we're going to have a website. I already have a website where people can let me know they're interested to become part of this sacred communion. And we'll probably have a weekly call, and people can be on Maestro telephone anywhere in the world. And we will have sacred readings from evolutionary material, and we will have transmissions from the voices of people who are emergent as a new humanity. And we will have an invitation for people to join a community of pioneering souls if they should choose to, and place themselves in the sector of the wheel of co-creation where they want to do their work or are doing their work, so that they can be connected with each other as co-creators. And this is going to be my offering into the world, and the communion will be in a gift economy. It will be free. People will be invited to give donations, but it will be no charge. You can tune in, and I don't know whether it will be Sunday morning, Saturday morning, Monday morning, but it probably has to pick a time for global, maybe it's around noon. And I'm just in the process of developing it, but I think one of the most important things we can do is connect that which is already creative and emergent.
Right. So there are lots of us around the world, and what you're doing is you are building a connection, a network, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I think that for many of us, at least when we're first emerging, listening to our soul's calling and bringing forth what we're meant to bring forth onto this planet, we have a tendency to feel alone, and we have a tendency to feel unsupported. We feel like we're sort of, balking against the system. I used to feel that way, and until I sort of, began to collaborate with others and connect with many others who are in the same realm. But initially, it felt lonely, isolating, and a little disempowering. So this feels really important. So important.
I was teaching a class on the Shift Network a few days ago called The Sacred Journey of the Conscious Evolutionary. And the fact is that 70% of my students feel lonely.
Yeah.
I feel lonely because here I am. My partner is deceased. My 5 children and my 8 grandchildren all live somewhere else.
Right.
I don't have extended family living anywhere, which is one of the things about our culture. And unless you belong to a really good church or a good organization of some sort, you are lonely. So one of the reasons for me doing the evolutionary communion of pioneering souls is in order to not be lonely myself, because I do almost all my life on the telephone.
Right.
I live on the telephone. Well, one day I said to myself, Barbara, you cannot continue to live on the telephone. You have to see a few bodies.
Right.
So I have to, and people who are older like myself, we have a real lifestyle challenge. Because there are retirement homes, of course, but usually you don't want to live with your children. They can't quite take you in.
Right.
It's hard to build community. So that's why I'm doing it.
That's fabulous.
You see, I had a problem. I had a depression. I felt lonely. What did I decide to do? Respond to it. Create evolutionary communion of pioneering souls.
That's great. And so instead of viewing it as a problem, you viewed it as an impetus to create something better.
I did.
Yeah, and that's fabulous.
It's a great trait because everybody has problems, but not everybody tries to find out what's emerging out of their problem.
Right. And I think many people think it's an obstacle to surpass, it's something to avoid, suppress, whatever, as opposed to viewing it as a means to become more.
A signal.
Yeah.
It's a signal of more. And then think of the tendency in evolution is to create more life, more consciousness, more freedom. That's a multi-billion-year trend. That's the trend. So when you feel that way, instead of feeling something's wrong, say to yourself, oh, this is right. I am thankful that I have this impulse. I'm going to discover what it is.
Right. So, Barbara, before we end the show, I want you to share with our listeners ways in which they can connect with you over this wonderful global internet.
Yes, well, they could go to evolve.org, and they can just sign up for the free new news, and they'll be on my list.
And, of course, BarbaraMarxHubbard.com. You've got some wonderful blogs. I was spending some time yesterday reading some of your blogs, and you really are on the cutting edge of the new mainstream. And I feel so blessed to have chatted with you, but I feel particularly blessed that you are on the planet right now, Barbara, doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
And do you have a final 30 to 45-second message to our listeners?
Well, just remember, your crisis, our crisis, is a birth of an emerging co-creative humanity. Yes. And say yes to the creativity within you, and it will guide you to your soul's purpose.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And there are many who are feeling the impetus to find their way, and I'm so glad that you're a voice out there. Again, Barbara's book her latest one is the revised edition of Conscious Evolution, Awakening the Power of Our Soul Potential. And thank you so much, Barbara, for joining us here today. I really appreciate you being here.
Of our social potential.
Of our social potential, yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And would you send me a copy of this interview, please?
Absolutely. And I would love to invite you back, and I'd love to chat with you when your Evolutionary Testament of Co-Creation book comes out, because that sounds fabulous as well.
Okay. Well, you be sure to do that, please.
Okay, great. And just got a couple of announcements before we head out. First of all, I wanted to mention that last week I was on the Manson Mitchell show. We sort of like turned the microphones around. Instead of being the interviewer, I was the interviewee. So if you're kind of curious about my perspective about what's going on in the world right now and how we're changing, I invite you to go to my website, ChristineUpchurch.com. There on the homepage, you can click on that and listen to the show. Also, I wanted to share with our listeners, we've been talking a lot about planetary change, and as Barbara was talking about, the change begins within each individual. Now, over the course of my career as a healer, as someone who healed myself of cancer, as somebody who has been working to transform my life and help to transform other lives on the planet, one of the questions I have asked myself multiple times is, why is it sometimes we're really successful with change, and why is it other times we're not? And, when we ask that question, with that sense of curiosity and excitement and neutrality, we get answers. And I have basically gotten this answer and sort of downloaded and created this comprehensive model that focuses on the principles of change. There are some underlying principles of change. So if you are struggling right now, it means that there is an essential ingredient missing from your recipe of change. So if you'd like to learn more about it, listen to the Manson Mitchell interview. Also, on April 25th, I'm going to be teaching a class on this, and I'll be sharing more about this in the future. But I just wanted to let our listeners know that you have an opportunity to learn what it is I've been learning about, and I'm so excited to share. And I want to thank you for joining us here today. It's been a fabulous conversation with the wonderful Barbara Marx Hubbard. Go out there and share yourself with the world. Bye, everybody.
You've
been listening to the Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey. Each week, this show engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information about the transformative healing work of Christine, visit www.stellarreflections.com. And for weekly topics, visit www.transformationtalkradio.com.